Hello everyone, welcome to Fablehaven Age of Wonders 4. The thrones of blood have darkened the skies of the astral sea, and it is time for the first full series to begin. And the overwhelming victor was none other than the greatest vampire to ever walk the realm, Vladdy von Carstein, otherwise known as Vladdy Daddy. We are going to the Warhammer Fantasy Universe once again. And before we begin creating the realm, I would just like to say thank you all for your support in the Nathris video and your interest, your continued interest in Age of Wonders 4. These series take up a very long, very large amount of time to create and set up. It took multiple days to prepare to return to Warhammer. I'm excited to show off what I've concocted. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, feel free to do so. And of course, like the video. The usual YouTube stuff. I've never asked to subscribe to the channel, but just for you, we're doing true brutal difficulty. So press the button. Thank you. Now, the Warhammer universe, or the fantasy Warhammer world of Malice, is definitely a continent. You could try and make an argument for divide, because there's like the old world and the new world, and then the polar sides and a few islands here and there, but we are going to be doing a continent. It is the best trait that there is. Now, there is a new environmental trait, the Sunless Highlands, but we will not be doing this, because of course only a small portion of the realm is, I suppose, what you would call sunless. And we are going to try, as an elder vampire, to spread Sunless across the realm of our undead legions. There will be no inhabitants, and of course no presence trait. The realm of Malice. It could be really boring. We could just go Wondrous Past and call it a day. We could do that. We will go Wondrous Past. But will anything else be added? We could go with Unfolding Mysteries to guarantee that intrigue occurs. In the Nathris playthrough, it kind of just happened. So you know what? We'll slot it in there. There is a lot of intrigue in the Warhammer Fantasy universe and the 40k universe, and the one we don't talk about, Age of Sigmar. I think we'll leave the Free Cities alone. City-States was really... I mean, it being on a small realm probably made it worse, but we're just going to leave it alone for now. Everything else, I think, looks mostly fine. We've tried unlimited power before, and things get a little spicy. You know what? I guess we're just going to leave it like this. The focus of this playthrough is the characters that I painstakingly created. That's what it is. Nothing more. Nothing less. That's a pretty picture. I don't know why I'm bothering. This is going to change when I go into advanced settings. In advanced settings, we are of course going to call this Malice. I think I misspelled this in some of the descriptions, but just believe me, challenging plus is the default, huh? You know what? We'll write it. Oh boy. So this is going to give all of the free cities the AoE's optimal positioning. The difference between challenging and challenging plus is that they deal 20% more damage and they receive 20% less damage. I think I want that to be regular challenging. We'll try challenging plus later. Just regular challenging. We want high intensity. We want high world threat. Normally I turn this down. We can turn off Dragon Lords because that's not happening. The dragons in Malice are not intelligent. Game speed will be normal. The research will be default. Starting difficulty is hard, or starting conditions, excuse me. We're going to go with all of the Pantheon stuff. We're going to go with all the victory conditions. You could argue that allied victory is not a thing. You could argue that. It could be argued. You know what? Fine. Let's do it. Let's suffer maximally. Maximum suffering. Challenging plus. Let's
Your
begin.
journey starts.
Future Fabe, I'm in need of your assistance. We're going to filter for the thrones of blood. And I'm going to pick one of these who is in the middle. And that is unfortunate. Good luck, Fabe.
What is
So,
the people's form?
Vlad von Carstein, the greatest vampire to ever walk the world, leads, I suppose. He is the Count of Sylvania. Now, I suppose I should have said this earlier, but a little bit of a warning. Timeline-wise, this isn't going to be canonical, kind of at all. I focus a lot of my timeline prior to the events of the end times, kind of like directly prior to them, and we won't be talking about the end times. I mean, I'll be talking about them because I'm going to make fun of them, but we won't be utilizing the end times lore. But the Sylvanians were men of the Empire, kind of. Mostly they're on the far reaches of the Empire. But their land was always shrouded, kind of, with dark magic. So they are resilient, +2 resistance. Negative stage effects last -1 turn with a minimum of 1. They are hardy, +8 HP, and they are strong. Self-reliant. Now this time we are playing the Cult of Death. Vlad von Carstein was kind of unique in the fact that he was a vampire lord, but he was perfectly content ruling a land of the living. In fact, he felt that the Empire would be better if they had an eternal, undying emperor to rule over, the living peasants. That was ultimately his goal. He, of course, did not succeed about 500 years before the end times, the time I'm familiar with. But the Cult of Death, for people familiar with death, sacrifice is the norm and a tool for their overlord to use. Units get power when friendly or hostile units are slain to the power from death. Whenever something dies, a unit with power from death will gain +1 mortal blessing, which is +5 HP and +2% critical hit chance, stacking up to 10 times. And if this unit struck the killing blow, they'll gain additional stacks, so if they kill them, they'll gain 2 instead of 1. Heroes in your crypt can be turned into embalmed sacrifices, which we can use for special spells, special buildings, which is said here. So we are going to be the Cult of Death. That is 1 shadow, 1 nature. For our culture, I thought about this a lot, and when I read that Sylvania, prior to Vlad's ascension, was already, familiar with necromancy and the Dar, which is the dark winds of magic, I felt mana channelers made the most sense. Now, of course, the regular peasantry wasn't, but the ruling families utilized this. And they even fought against incursions using undead. So, mana channelers it is. We haven't used this in a long time. This might have been my very first playthrough was the last time I used this. This makes it so summoning spells cost 50% less mana, and magical origin units gain +10% experience, and we begin with an extra magic origin unit. You know what a magic origin unit is? Skeletons. That'll be important. And we're going with the Vision of Destiny. Now, I debated the Vision of Ruin. This is a specialized kind of conflict. We could use this for Shadow, basically. But I think the Vision of Ruin for Shadow is the end of the living, so it's not very appropriate for Vladdy Daddy. However, being a bringer of death, having his destiny be in death, is perfectly fine. I still feel like it's odd that there's +2 affinity for this chosen interpretation and +1 for the others, but whatever.
Choose your first
Whatever.
tome of magic.
We will be using the new tomes. However, we are starting with the Tome of Necromancy because we are all about skeletons and necromancers and undeath. We're all about it.
What is
All about it.
origin?
Vladdy Daddy is, of course, an elder vampire, pure blood.
Yourself.
He is the progenitor of the von Carstein line. And here he is. Now, Vlad is very heavily armored, pretty much in all of his variations. But unfortunately, the only heavy armor for the Vampire Lord is this one. The good news is it looks really cool. So, there's that. I debated going for a more, like, relaxed leather cloak type Vlad, but let's be honest, that wasn't Vlad. Vlad was about it, you know? He was about getting it done. And he didn't really have any helmets, as far as I'm aware. Some of his variants, in fact, had faces that were quite more devolved than this. But those were our options, and I elected to go with none of them. There you go. We can look at his beautiful face and crazy hairline. For the capes, of course, we just want armor. This is pretty much the only armored one, I think. And he has those crazy vampire high collar things going on, of course. This one would have also worked, but he does have a cloak, so we'll cloak it up. We'll be fancy as can be. Now, of course, there is no better class that suits Vlad von Carstein than the Death Knight. He is a master of swordsmanship. He is a master of necromancy. He can use some shadow magic as well. But his biggest quirk is that he is undying. That is his biggest speciality. Here are our little people. I made them as pale as possible. Their hair color should not be blue. I suppose it can be white. It doesn't really matter. We'll go with like this grayish thing. And we are using the new rose-thorned skeleton mounts. All well and fancy.
Your journey.
So this, I didn't put a biography. I have written so many biographies, I couldn't anymore. But this is the Lord of Death, Vlad von Carstein, who leads Sylvania from Castle Drakenhof. And of course, he is an imperialist. Siege Master is very good. And he was all about becoming the Emperor of Death. So without further ado, let us begin. Welcome to Malice. Now, I will mention, I did not give any of the AI any bonus starting advantages. Partially because I forgot, but partially because putting them on Challenging Plus isn't frightening enough for me. So, we are, of course, a Cult of Death. We begin with Necrotize. Ooh, this is pretty good. And the Death Waltz. This is a fun spell for the Cult of Death. A target-friendly unit will regain its action points and health. It will gain Resurgence, and then it will die. So basically, if a unit is in the thick of it, you can let them act a second time. Then they will perish. But if you succeed in battle, they'll come back to you. As you prepare your strategy for ruling this realm, the world around you gives way to the vision of a world tree. You climb the kaleidoscope tree of unprecedented vastness. It is the cosmic tree. Its branches extend endlessly towards all poles of the astral sea. Whispers, songs, and shouts call and beckon you, some friendly, some harsh, some seductive. They all know your name, yet you realize that there is one color, one branch that harbors the destiny of your Sylvania. That is the branch you must follow. Which voice, which color does your heart elect? Where does your destiny lie? Death, the inescapable end. It does give two. It's a little... okay. The dead branch leads you down, not up. You are guided into the coldest and darkest shadows of the tree. An unspeakable terror dwells here, but you feel no fear, only admiration. The entity extends one of its hooked limbs to grace you. Its touch intoxicates you. You desire more. You drink from a cool well of secrets, but soon light begins to pierce the shadows. You are back in the world. Your vision has ended, yet your mission is revealed. When you sit in your web of shadows and deceits, the full potency of shadow affinity is yours to manipulate. So Vladdy Daddy wasn't really a manipulator, but yeah, close enough. He was still a vampire at the end of the days. I mean, he did manipulate the nobility of Sylvania into accepting him, but he didn't really go for the whole subtle, long-term approach. He kind of went for the accept me or die. And the people who liked him, he favored and, you know, spread the blood kiss with. Anywho, our starting units are the Immortal. If you saw the Denathrius playthrough, this is exactly the same as the Immortal from the Cult of Tyranny, except that it gets power from death instead of the Aura of Tyranny. It is the exact same as the Dark Warrior previously, although I think it's a little stronger. It does have Expendable, so when it dies, it doesn't affect the morale of any of our units. And Lesser Resurgence, when it dies, it comes back from the dead if you are victorious. Our free starting magical unit is the Skeleton Mage, which is all well and fine. It's not great, but skeletons were given Expendable as well in this patch, so that's fantastic. And we have the Pursuer. If you are familiar with the previous playthrough, this is the exact same. Although as the Cult of Death, I think we really want to try and utilize the Pursuer's execution capabilities. She destroys something, and then she gets to teleport again, and life is swell. And of course you have a little scout who doesn't really do anything. I mean, you know, she can see stuff, and she gains +2 vision when an enemy domain. Cute. We do want the Desecration Chamber as fast as possible. Is it more important than the workshop? Possibly. Now, Vladdy Daddy is a frontliner. But we're going to want more frontline. Our frontline is not particularly good at the start here, but we will see what we can do. Necromancers are great, but we can't make them just yet. Necrotic projectiles could be good. We might need a minute. We'll take Skeleton Reanimation, because they'll be able to fill our units quickly. Where are we? We are in the bottom right. Oh, by the grace of the Dark Gods. Well, I have to be careful with that this time around. By the grace of me. I think I'm about to fight this. That went very well. But you know what? I'll fight the first battle because I do get a request to do that. And a second request I got was to not be on 3x speed all the time. So I'm going to try and rock 2x speed. We'll see how it feels. You can always right-click during a turn to like get that turn to go full speed. But it's a temporary matter, not a permanent. Vladdy Daddy is on his undead horse. And he is going to be our tanky boy. Go here, I suppose. So Vlad's role in the Denathrius playthrough. Our Denathrius, the sire of all things, played a role that arguably wasn't ideal. Arguably. It's a nice little charge there. He was kind of like a... Would you say... Oh, you're distracted. That's nice. He was trying to be like a DPS, debuff kind of character with magic and whatnot. Vlad is going all in on the destruction. The tanky destruction. So he is going to be in the front line, and his goal... You know, I should necrotize that so I got a zombie. We'll necrotize this one so I get a zombie. Oh, and it died. Nice. Cool, so this should be pretty easy. Of course, these are the Bone Daddies, the Bone Horror. We have Vladdy Daddy, and we have the Bone Daddy. Oh my. Many daddies to be had. The Bone Horror, when it falls, or when it reaches 30%, right? Will spawn a feller. 50%, excuse me. Spawn a little zombie. Vlad, as a Death Knight, is a melee character, meaning that he starts with the Draining Bite. I believe, yes, this cannot be used against anyone who is immune. So we can use this to recover a little bit of HP. It deals a sizable amount of damage, and then heals us for 50% damage dealt. But it cannot be used against targets that don't bleed, like the undead. He held that sword for a while there. think his animations are thinking about what to do. They're debating life. Now, these things, these decaying zombies, are combat summons. So, we should be able to spawn here. Shoot this and claim our victory. Glorious, we did better. As the skirmish ends, a blazing light dazzles you. From its splendor, a vigil emerges. Its layered voice, resonating with a metallic harmony, exclaims, "Be not afraid, for this was your ordeal, and in its glory you have bathed. These foul creatures shall no longer ravage these sacred lands. Rise now, and seize your divine retribution." Okay, look. I wouldn't mind a monk. Did Sylvania have monks? No. Would Vlad accept the help of an angelic creature? Maybe in times of desperation. We're going to take the monk. It's kind of like an early boon that's a little too good to pass up. You're picking up what I'm putting down. What are you standing on? Draft, okay. So we can, in fact, waddle into that with a single entity. This could be a tough battle. We'll see how it pans out. We lose the monk. All right. Let's not lose the monk. Now, when you're doing a battle or doing a difficulty like this, with the hard start, the challenging plus difficulty, the high world threat, there are going to be a lot of battles that are just trying to control the situation. So there will be some redundancy. I will try. If it gets a little carried away, I can try and edit them out. But as it stands, just be warned. You're not a white wolf, wow. You okay? I think we're necrotizing here. We got first strike. Why do you have first strike? Oh, you don't have first strike. This is just wrong. Cool. You have charge resist, so you can't be interrupted by that. Got it. That makes sense, actually. Alright, so the monk, if you've never seen them before, they're not a new unit. I guess we'll just do this. We'll play really recklessly here. In fact, we could be super reckless and use our new tool. Our new toy. Shall we? It seems unwarranted at the moment. We'll go ahead and necrotize to see if we can... This thing is obstructed, so... If I can get one more hit, I'll be happy. Not on my lord. Okay, should be able to move here. And then eat him. Trying to get back to full HP. We have another quirk I forgot to mention. We're a vampire! I'm sure you are shocked and flabbergasted. As a vampire, because we are not in sunless terrain, we are in the sunlight. We deal 20% less damage, and we do not regenerate on the world map. That is why it is of the utmost importance that we build the Desecration Chamber kind of as soon as possible. Okay. Monk is in. Remember. Our poor little Immortal will return to us. We shot our... decaying zombie, but I'm not too bothered by that. Okay. The enemy wavers. Slippery sods. Okay. We can use the King Zombie to trigger the retaliation. Because again, it is a temporary false unit. We must think. Are you evading? No, you're just scared. We must think as though our units are expendable. Now, the true residents of Sylvania were not expendable to Vladdy Daddy, but he did raise a great many skeletons in his service. Also, you may have noticed, we got the Mortal Blessing regardless of a friend or a foe dying, which is why it actually works really well with the Vision of Destiny. Because it doesn't matter who dies. Someone has to die. Oh, thankfully this started as stunless, didn't it? I think so. That was almost enough for the Immortal to be completed. We can boost him, which will transform our draft into food, all 22 of it. What just happened? Oh, cool. So we can send our scout out to go do scout things. We might manually control her for a little bit, because, we'll see. Vladdy Daddy has leveled up. As you can see, we have the draining bed over here. I'm not going to touch this for a long time. This is just going to be here for a while. But we will level up Knight. As I mentioned, Vlad's one of his most well-known features that he is unkillable. So we are probably not going to be touching the curse or summoning tree at all, even though he did summon a lot. He did raise a lot of undead. He was the front line. He was the icon of Sylvania that pushed and absorbed and threatened the Empire itself. He was a G. Long and short of it, he was a G. This is even like 30 gold. We could boost our pop. That does cost a number of things. Now, our starting spawn isn't awful. We can grab this for food. We could grab this for production. You know what? We're going to do it. This gives us the farm to boost the workshop. It also gives us the sheep for lots of food. We grow, grow, grow. We can actually move over here, be within our domain, and challenge this. Okay, we're going to have to deal with this as well. We're not sure where our vassal is. There is a watchtower there, however. I think we'll start working on the scout. And 9 turns until we get a hero. If you know, you know. There's only one person on that list. But we'll get around to it. A large creature cage. Everybody's back. Hey, they nerfed this thing. Now, Vlad, the vampire counts, did have creatures of the night answered their call. So I may use a couple. I don't particularly wish to lose this skeletal mage. Of all of our unit types, the skeletal mage is, of course, the more expendable. However, 2 things. It's been with us for a while. But also, as mana channelers, it is currently our only magical origin unit that is gaining bonus experience, more good. I understand how they lost it. You know how all that damage went on this thing? You're slippery, aren't you? Yep. All the damage went on this guy. They basically just put all of that towards the mage as well. Or perhaps instead is the phrase. You can go ahead and leap here. Get full action against this lesser light spirits. You can just go try and tie him up. We want to remain within the bush if we can. I believe you can teleport forward. Secure the kill. Immortal Blessing. Could have done that a little earlier. Could have also done this. We are a little low in mana. We don't want to, you know, expend our resources like crazy if we don't have to. The death of an Immortal means nothing to me. Have some decaying zombies as well. They don't spawn with actions anymore, which is rude. Obscured by oh, there's a fence. A barbed wire fence, sir. Oh, that dog just won't hunt. Nailed it. We might have to leave this Immortal here and return to our territory, though. To full heal up. Poor little guy. Castle Drakenhof can expand. Now, we can also expand into the water. Sylvania was, I believe, landlocked. Mostly. So, very not lore-friendly. However, I will exploit it. I love water provinces. So, gonna be mine. Virginia Forester, however, I am an enjoyer of building a quarry on top of an iron node. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Production. Vladdy Daddy has leveled up once more. I think before we start getting into like our talents and more specialized melee brawling stuff, we're going to go for raw stats. So we're going to go for Second Wind. I really enjoy Second Wind. Oh my throat got caught up there. A Second Wind, free action. You get to move. One more Hex, you gain Slippery so you don't trigger your opportunity attack. Heal for a little bit, and this ability refreshes after each kill, just like our Pursuer's shooty. Oh, hey, we have a hat. That's well and fun. No spells to cast. So I might as well mention, on top of being an Imperialist, the Vampiric Governor, I think, is actually quite powerful. We, of course, are at level 1, where each population grants +1 food, +1 draft, +1 knowledge. Cute. At level 2, acquiring new population and thralls require 10% less food. We'll get into thralls later, but basically, they just require food to generate. It can be used in various spells. At level 3, each mine gains +2 Imperium, which is fantastic. And at level 4, units cost 20% less gold, draft, and souls to recruit. Do we leave the Immortal here, or do we take him with us? A lucky ring. Well, I'll take it. Speaking of lucky rings, the thing that gave von Carstein his basically immortality, his unkillable nature, was a ring, the von Carstein ring. 15 Imperium to expand. I don't hate that. We can even grab this Forester here. Or do we wish to expand elsewhere? We could go here and then maybe get a mana node. I'm looking at this sheep farm. I'm sure no one is surprised. Grab a Forester here. We can put you there. I mean, this is all calculated. 5 Zealots. Surely nothing could go wrong with 5 Zealots. You know what? Not too bad. That is production completing our Desecration Chambers. So Sunless is going to spread throughout our domain, which is fantastic. I am an enjoyer of the Barbie, but we will instead... You know, we'll just auto-explore. We'll just go for the Shrine because we do have some use for our mana, and we have not much of it. So, the Desecration Chambers, as I said, they will spread Sunless to not only, or to any province within our domain, and then any province adjacent to it. So, ideally, we start expanding out like this way so that we can, you know, go in a circle and not just a line, but we'll see. Our first Empire development skill is available. It is the Knowledge Extraction. Big fan of Knowledge Extraction. Love it. And we'll be obtaining it in the near future. I do have to be careful with Vladdy Daddy, because he doesn't regenerate. We could go this way towards the watchtower. And I am interested in such ideas. This should be good, but they're probably going to kill the mage if I had to guess. Okay. Robes of Resistance. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Skeletal Reanimation is in. Morbid Sacrifice is incredible. Cult of the Death. This will give our Death Cult mark to any unit that is not part of our culture, which count skeletons, so we might need this sooner than you normally would. Morbid Sacrifice is the... Is this the only spell? One of the spells that you use the Embalmed Sacrifice for, and it is very, very powerful. In a province, all of your armies will fully heal, gain Universal Camouflage for 3 turns, gain plus 15 morale until the end of the next combat, and gain plus 20 hit points until the end of the next combat. It is supremely strong, and probably going to be used a lot. If I had to guess. I expect a great many Morbid Sacrifices. We have our mana. I think we need another Pursuer team. And we're also going to need a storehouse and some gold, but we'll get to that. We're going to grab this next turn so that we can start exploring beyond the sea. Not under the sea, but over the sea. We have met our free city. Baron Baelor Kingstealer. Belor, excuse me. He's not the one-eyed god. Of the free city, Tornil greets you with a nefarious grin. Salutations, Vladdy von Carstein. It is delightful to meet a lord of death of our persuasion. Though we understand a desire to control and even subjugate those beneath us, we ask that you would allow us, Tornil, to remain independent of your murderous grasp. So this is our starting free city that is of our culture. Hello. So, we'll take a look at... We'll give them the stone and we'll see what we can work with here. But I am expecting a hostile takeover. To put it kindly. We'll see what they're working with. Because we are on the hard start and high world threat and challenging plus difficulty, I might not be able to do it without some significant... That is a circle. Okay. Without some significant scheming. This might be doable. Ironically, it would be really good if I did do this, just because of the heroes. But we are about to hit turn 10, which I believe is the mark when they get another hero. So that's worth noting. We are going to pop this. We can now see fair. Oh, that's horrifying. We can hit this and see what we're working with here. These did get nerfed. This might be an easier battle, actually. It depends if the druid just gets to kill us. Let's do the auto does. Okay. Okay. See, I'm biting off more than I can chew here. Maybe we should go home and think about. Maybe you should stay here. He is our only mounted unit, so... Like I said, it really just depends on... Okay. We heal for a percentage based on the damage dealt, so... Necrotize. Now we have a zombie. You are slippery, right? You are. But we can take a hop here. Get on you. This thing, for better or worse, only has 1 AP shots. I believe this guy is resilient to death or blight, so... We'll stand here to protect our flank. Okay. That's fine. Alright. This is a combat summon. I'd really rather not waste a shot on it. I think Vlad is going to have to just continue tying this thing up. The real terrifying things about the Druid of the Cycle are all just what happens when it gets to use all of its AP. So if it never gets to do that, I think it'll be okay. I think we will be okay. 2 shots for 12 or 1 shot for that? We'll take both. I do have a lot of mana income, so I think I can kill this. Yeah. Alright. I, of course, should have done that first for the Mortal Blessing, but we'll take what we can. Alright. In the end, I think it worked out well. %. GG. Oh. The Pursuer didn't get the kill, so it can't refresh, but it doesn't matter. Huzzah! That gave us some souls, and we can get another mage. Which is now trespassing, but I can't do anything about that. Okay. Well, I would like to go back home. E.T. go home and all that. We might try and have peaceful relations with Tornil. It wasn't all violence that brought the Sylvanian nobility to heel. There was some level of diplomacy and offerings of immortality and all that. I have to deal with these camps before they get out of hands as well. Oh, hey, a bat. I think that one has already gotten out of hands. Well, maybe we can sneak by there. Sorry about trespassing. Wasn't really my plan. So this one will be a little more difficult. These 4, actually this whole thing are all single entities. So attacking them does not weaken them. And they're all a higher tier than me. So I think we're going to leave this one alone. We're going to head back home and see if we can deal with these. That is a cannon. See if we can heal and deal with these. Okay, Vlad can run into the Sunless, which is fantastic. We basically have a skeletal mage leaking us behind. We can annex further, and we shall. What do we need? A farm. We're going to go up a tier, of course. I'm going to show you that I know how to play the game, mostly. I'd love a farm here, but we can't actually annex this yet. So, we're going to annex the farm on this gold node. And we'll change this into a gold node later. Next time we level up, we're not going to boost anything. Because we're saving our money. So we're in the corner. We might want to take a scout and explore what's down here. This might just be our domain. And the fact that we're... Wait. We're not. Oh, We're going to take that stone and we're going to give it to our capital of Castle Drakenhof. I realized something. I was going to say the words were going to come out of my mouth that we're an imperialist. Which we are. But we're the imperialist ambition. And the difference... I'll define that. The difference from imperialist society trait is that imperialist society trait grants city stability and... Is it gold production? For the throne, city, and cities adjacent to it. It's basically like another version of metropolitan society. And I was originally going to go that because, you know, we're an imperialist. But I changed it because the Sylvanians, wow, prior to Vlad's arrival, were not exactly imperialists. It is almost a uniquely Vlad-driven phenomena. So, you know. Is this going to be in my way if I necrotize this? I feel like it is. I'm alarmed at how well this mage is doing. Are you just going to go here and tie this guy up? These things can't bleed because they're ethereal, so... Ah! My pursuers are hidden. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. It's not really a good habit to get into to lose your immortals every fight, but it's not, like, unrecoverable. You know? Do you have shock defense? No, they're in a tree. I keep forgetting that does that. I was about to be a little upset. So if you're in an obstructing foliage, anything that hits you, I believe you have the equivalent of charge block. Anyway, because we are an imperialist, the ambition type, we want to take over a free city. And if we take over a free city, we will gain Siege Master, which will help us later on. A special tool that will help us later on. Welcome, my friends, to level 4. Vladdy von Carstein has obtained his first signature skill. And we have some phenomenal choices. I was thinking of Hemomancer. Vlad has a magical weapon. I'm sure we'll craft it eventually. He actually has 2 magical swords. But one of them, I believe it is called Blood Drinker. I'd have to double check that. Basically allows him to sap the life from his enemies so he doesn't have to drink their blood like a savage, is the quote. So, I was thinking that Hemomancer would make a lot of sense. It allows us to take a little bit of damage to deal increased damage for our next attack, but passively, it allows us to recover 10 temporary hit points when killing a unit with a magic melee or physical attack. So it's not great, It's basically, it's Life Taker, essentially. But it is something. And something is always good. We could go Nightsworn. As I mentioned, the von Carsteins are able to call some creatures of the night. One of those are the Fellbats. So it would make sense for us to get a free unit, and then we can have like a little AoE around us, which is something we will kind of be lacking. We'll get Cleave from the tree, but other than that, we're not going to have a lot of AoE. So this could be good. Dreadful, we took in the Denathrius playthrough, and one of the magical swords of Vlad did inflict terror, but not this. And then there's Desecrator, which is kind of a necromantic thing. We get Corpse Explosion. We get a free zombie. But Vlad wasn't interested in exploding corpses. He was interested in exploiting corpses. I realized they're close words, but exploding and exploiting are two very different things. So it's really between Humomancer and Nightsworn for me. Blood Empowerment into Cleave would be really spicy. This is when you kill, right? Or so just when something dies, that would be really strong. I might take Nightsworn, and it's only partially because it's gonna look really good. That'll make sense later. But like the min-maxer in me wants this. What do we get for this? We get Frost Strikes and Pack Leader. Oh, if we were doing an animal build, this would be pretty good. We could build some... Do you want to build some bats? Humomancer gets Inspiring Killer and Searing Strikes. I don't think I would use either of those. You know, let's go Nightsworn. Let's do it. And that gives us 2 points, so we can go directly into Cleave. The question is, do we want to start with more damage or more HP? That's a silly question. A lesson I learned long ago, a dead DPS does no DPS. And if Vlad is going to be undying, he's going to need a health pool to support that. Our second Pursuer is in. We're going up to Tier 2, which will give us access to the Mortalist. And the Death Guard as well. 2 very powerful characters. Speaking of Corpse Explosion, this could actually be really good. We will also be able to make Necromancers, so I think we'll get cooking on that. It'll be ready just in time for us to recruit them. We will not be getting All-Seeing yet. And Mark of the Death Cult is ready to cast once we have the blue stuff. No one went down here, huh? What is that? What is that? Oh, there's a hero here. He has a whip! I would love this weapon. We may have to go get that. We cannot recruit further units. We are waiting for the tier up. One, two. We might be able to bait him into attacking us. We kind of have to act soon before he gets a tier up, though. I don't know when that happens. I said it was turn 10. We're at turn 10, but it hasn't happened yet. But it's going to happen soon. We could also wait for a tier 2 unit. I mean, we have the monk, but... A real tier 2 unit, excuse me. I'm scared. You know what we could do? I've never done this before. We could go, like, raid his lands. Actually pillage. Remember when I said that Vlad convinced a lot of nobles to join him by, you know, join or die. Raiding your land so you have nothing is a pretty good way to do that. We do have our first hero. Unfortunately, I cannot afford her. Just healing up right quick. Some more sunless for me to stand in. I think we'll go. You will join, or you will perish. We'll hold on the Mark of the Death Cult just because, you know, we don't need that. It is 70 to boost, not available. It is 300 for our first hero, excuse me, 150, and there she be. We'll talk about her in a second. So maybe we just save for her. Thank you for the knowledge. That is a... There it is. Oh, is this a war party? That's fine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, the one, the only, Isabella von Carstein, the waifu. So, Isabella von Carstein is the first of the vampires turned by Vlad, but she was, at first, a marriage of convenience. Immediately prior to the death of her father Otto von Drac, Vlad approached Isabella for a marriage to inherit the county of Sylvania, and she was all too pleased to agree to prevent her uncle from claiming the throne. Vlad's first act was to gift Isabella by tossing her uncle from the top of Castle Drakenhof to his death. How romantic. Vlad soon realized that Isabella could resist his vampiric charm and fell madly in love with her. And Isabella reciprocated with a new request, the blood kiss. Vlad loved Isabella far too much to curse her with the suffering of vampirism, but ultimately turned her when she became deathly ill. Henceforth, Vlad and Isabella became inseparable. She taught him the ways of the courts, convinced nobles to support him, provided advice and strategy, and joined him on the march to war to claim the empire. Isabella was, and is, the only voice that Vlad wholeheartedly trusts. So I actually only made Isabella for Vlad's custom heroes. There are others, like there's Conrad, we'll talk about Manfred later, Lydia, and a couple of other vampires that he sired and whatnot. But, as it says, Isabella was the only one he trusts. And so Isabella is going to be the only vampire count to join him. Future fave here. At the time of recording, it was not possible to apply vampire cosmetics to non-elder vampires. From my understanding, the modder for the customization unlock mod, C4U, is attempting to make it possible, but as of right now, it is not. So Isabella has just gone with this lovely metallic gown and will join us for the rest of campaign in such. Back to the video. And I figured for our other heroes, we can just reanimate the heroes that we kill. It's very lore accurate. I might have to go Morbid Sacrifice. Well, I can't do anything in Morbid Sacrifice. I can't afford Soul Collection either. So we'll go Necrotic Projectiles. So for Isabella, I got a request to give her the floating daggers. And I thought about it for a while, and I think it'll work. Because Isabella isn't overly magically inclined. Like, she has the typical, magic of vampires, which isn't extreme. But, other than that, her power came mostly from the fact that she couldn't die. Hashtag von Carstein things. And she stabbed people. And she had a magic chalice. a dark magic chalice. So I thought, okay, we could do Ranger. She can support from the backline and be with her beloved. So for that, she is an elitist. So she loves to fight with her consort. Or she's the consort. Her liege? Her love. And upon level 12, she'll get Ruler's Retinue, which will be amazing for vampires. Crazy good. Cross Dreckenhoff can expand. I would love this. I didn't think about that at the time. Two farms enough to boost the tavern. We do want that. I think we'll start with the stonemason. Are we looking for a second forester? We are. I think we'll make this a forester for now. Because we still get the sheep regardless. So we can go from there. This is a problem now. As the Cult of Death, we don't really care for vassals like the Cult of Tyranny. But I can't take that. So we're going to have to think of something else to do. I don't particularly care. This might be a fight we take on our own. Almost killed the Pursuer. Should we watch and see how they almost killed the Pursuer? Once I bet it has something to do with the Unholy Titan coming my way. We are in Sunless, thankfully. So our vampires aren't being weakened. As, if you recruit any hero... Let me phrase that. Any champion recruited as an Elder Vampire will become a turned vampire, which is not quite as extreme as an Elder Vampire, but, you hurt my beloved. Are we really going to sacrifice Isabella to get... I think we are. Sacrilege, AI. Sacrilege. Anyway, they're turned Vipers, so they have the same in sunlight weakness. However, they do not gain access to the signature skills of the Elder Vampire. You have ridden to the defense of your beloved. I'm proud of you, AI Vlad. And she moved out. And a turned vampire sacrifices 20% of their experience to their Elder. But for every signature skill the Elder gets, the turned vampires get a little bit stronger. A little bit of give and take here. Fucking ow. I guess this is why the Pursuers almost died. This will be my first playthrough where we get the Undead Titan. I'm very excited, actually. And yes, I left on the heroes will resurrect after auto combat because I didn't want the AI killing my beloved. You walked into the... I didn't want the AI killing my beloved Isabella. I wasn't going to stand for that. There are little Doom Bats that we summoned. I think it's so funny he holds the sword back like that. We could turn, you know, dismount him, but it's kind of working out right now. I don't believe he actually has a mount in canon. Even like on the... Like, I know he doesn't in Total War Warhammer, which is where I'm pulling a lot of like the base influence for these characters from. But I think even in the tabletop he didn't have a mount option. Ow. I mean, we have one nature, right? I wasn't planning on getting any tomes that involve nature, but maybe I should. We do not have Unbound Tomes turned on, so I can't just be like, oh, look, Tome of Cycles, yoink. I liked that. I sucked that thing's blood. Wait, isn't that a zombie? How did I... You know what? Don't ask questions. You could argue that zombies have the skeleton. Of course they have skeletons. You could argue that zombies have blood. It's just like putrid and decayed. Whereas skeletons are, of course, only bones, so they don't have blood. that could be a significant difference. I always thought the difference was skeletons don't have flesh and zombies have flesh, but hey. If we go with the lore, Vlad's not drinking the blood personally. He is sucking it up with his sword. So, you know. They never killed the Doombat. That little guy got to survive the whole time. Well, hello there. Okay. How much do you cost? This is our first Thorn Skeleton. How did I get a Thorn Skeleton? The Thorn Skeletons are exactly the same as the regular skeletons, except I'm trying to see what their mana upkeep is, and I don't know how to see it. Whatever. My family name is stained. Unironically, yes, but that's why you took my name. Your heroine, Isabella von Carstein, cries to you. Bandits took my horn at the shepherd during the night. Ah. Okay. Your stalwart champion is deeply distraught. Well, okay. I realized that was a quest we could have read, but all I needed to hear was that my waifu was distraught. Magistrate Herhazind Zendusa of the Free City Silver Court threatens you. Are you a dog? Some may threaten you, consider you a god. I do not. I know your weaknesses. I know how to make even a god here bleed. Fear the power of Silver Court, for your time has come. You're on some gnarly terrain. Okay. Followers of Chaos. How ironically lore accurate. Isabella must ride with me. So anyway, Thorn Skeletons. They're the exact same as regular skeletons, except they have Razor Thorns. So melee attackers suffer a stack of bleeding for 3 turns when they hit them. That's it. That's all. That's the only difference. Are you like 4 mana? What's going on here? 6 mana, okay. I could use you in this assault, but I'm kind of hoping this goes farther away. Okay, well. This is pretty much full health. It's fine. Just stay here and heal up real quick, Vladdy. Alright, what do we got? Magic Origin units have their upkeep cost reduced. This will be fantastic. Later. So I might, I think what we'll do is we'll head this direction, bonk all this crap, and establish a city on the Echoing Abyss. And go from there. So I am, unfortunately, going to do this the boring way. I trespass, so they're mad. They'll get over it. I'll do that for 15 Imperium. I think we will build our first, nope, don't queue things up. It's bad. So here are our tier 2 units. I actually have 3 of them. The Death Guards. This is the unique variation for the tier 2 polearm of the Cult of Death. Their fun little speciality is they have Death Vitality. This is a 1 AP self-heal. They gain 20 temporary hit points and plus 10 temporary hit points for each stack of Mortal Blessing. So yes, it is possible to heal for 120 hit points. And then you enter defense mode, and it is on a 2-turn cooldown. I always felt like this was potentially very, 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 very strong. Especially for a polearm. But we'll have to put it to the test. There is also the Mortalist. This is the unique variation of the Warlock, and their special quirk is they do blight damage instead of ice, instead of frost damage, but their special ability, Death Hex, inflicts Life Seed instead of doing all those debuffs, and is only a 1 AP action instead of a full AP action. I believe this is the only battle mage in the game like this, but I have to think about that for a bit. So, do we need a front line or do we need ranged damage? We do have the skeletal mages, and of course our waifu is with us. So I think we'll start on the stabby. And of course the necromancer is here. Nothing about this boyo has changed. He's here. We'll go ahead and grab the Mark of the Death Cult. Now this will affect, of course, all of our skeletons, this little porcupine, that monk we picked up from an angel that we killed. Just our random assortment of units. So yeah, the reason why Isabella currently has a sword and net is just because I want her to be like a ranged character. And I thought it would be fun. No other reason. I want to take this whip from this guy. We'll take his whip and give that to her. I'm sure Vlad wouldn't mind being whipped by Isabella. I know I wouldn't. Oh, my final thought about Isabella. Her art, I'm sure Future Fate flashed it on the screen. I'm putting him to work today. But she's like fully armored with this crazy hairstyle. That was not really possible to replicate. I mean, I could have. I just didn't like the way it looked. So I went with this semi-armored dress for my true waifu experience. I hope it is satisfying enough. There are a lot of necromancers here, so I think this should be easy to run over. Okay. Let's clean that up a little bit. Necromancers are surprisingly annoying. Just the fact that they can endlessly resurrect bodies to get in the way. But of course, we have Vladdy Daddy. And so long as we use him properly, we should be okay. Now, Isabella is not a frontline. Make no mistake. Despite what her current skirmishing may suggest. But, she can still, you know, she still has repeating attacks if something gets in her face. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. A beautiful positioning here. I have to get rid of this, though. Let's do it. So we can actually teleport in, secure the kill, and then our teleport will be ready next turn. And now Vladdy Daddy can run in. He can do the Bat Swarm for free. And he can cleave. That was kind of my vision for this this combo. A little Immortal can get over here. That is a Thorn Skeleton, however, which is kind of annoying. We have another Pursuer. Not too shabby. If I had used this guy first, it would have reset the jump, but it is what it is. We can go ahead and try and snare this little individual and then tie him up with the bat. Look at our little bat. And of course it is a free unit, so we don't have to worry too much about it. This is a real decaying zombie, which is an odd thing to say. I believe most of these will be resilient to our necrotize, so I might just save our mana. We are... Vlad might fall here, actually. I didn't think about that. No, he'd be fine. Now, these are... We have to kill them, okay. We can get Isabella to get started here. There's our jump refreshed. I think we should focus on the necromancers so that they don't do this. Or we can stand on the corpses. That's a thought, too. Hello. Do I roll the 50s? I don't know. Something, something, save our mana. Something, something, dark zone. Something, something, complete. Alright. Well done, my little bats. Maybe we do take pack leader. I wasn't planning on it, but it's just 1 point. Oh, good job. Because we'll be able to... Right, you're a charge unit. A shock unit. Because we'll be able to recruit bats from our Vampire Castle, so we can always use them to supplement the stack. Thorn Skeleton Mage. I believe you are exactly the same as well, right? I love a Thorn Skeleton Warrior. Let's go with that. The Nightmare Mount. Evoker's Row. I think we want the defense. So this would... Wait, no, it wouldn't, would it? This would not affect our Draining Bite. That is affected only by melee. Is this magic? It is melee. Okay, that's good to know. I am considering more HP. I think we'll take Frenzy. I don't know if I want to go fully down this tree yet, but I am considering it. Now, Waifu, Isabella, she could go for the AoE Siphon, which is in fact a magical attack. It would be her only magical attack, but it's a magical attack. We could also go for a Ranger situation. It's so sad that they split this tree apart. Like, I kind of understand why they did it, but it's still really sad. But this side of the Ranger tree, I haven't seen it in a while, but it's basically just raw stats, and you can really lean into skirmishing here if you want. So if we really wanted Isabella to have a whip, to whip me mommy, you know, this would kind of be what we're looking for. If we wanted to lean more into the floating daggers, it would be over here. Mostly. I mean, some raw stats never hurt nobody, you know? Honestly, I should probably grab this first. And this. We'll grab this first. So this gives us slippery and swift so we don't get tied up. We'll get that first. We can give this to her for now. We don't have a planned mage at the moment. I definitely should have cast this first, but now I should definitely cast it. So our monks, our skeletons, they all now benefit from the Mortal Blessing. How many do we have now? Yeah, look at our Legion. And you are the same, right? You don't do a different damage channel or anything? You do a different damage channel. Okay, the Thorn Skeleton Mages do physical damage and inflict bleeding. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. We are being invaded by the small monster den. We'll have to go back and crump it. We found something down here. This is a nice place. This is a handcrafted region, of course. Okay. We don't have too many underground cultures on this particular map. I did make sure there were a couple. I believe... We're okay with this, right? Part of using skeletons, you let them go. We are bleeding mana, however. So... we're going to get our foundation. Okay, no one is currently in the crypts. You currently are not a hero. So we are going to head this way to grab ourselves a hero. This could be a problem. But it's time for our second tier 1 tome. Problems aside, and you know what it's going to be. I know what it's going to be. We all know what it's going to be. The Tome of the Blood Rites.
Forbidden rites in a forgotten tongue. Burned scrolls of a kingdom raised on blood and sacrifice. These are the memories of the one we now call the Deathless God. His tenets. Now, he whispers them in my mind as words to be carved into our flesh. For every gift he bestows demands a price. And that price is blood.
We are 100% taking the flesh carve runes. Now, when it comes to vampires, in the Warhammer fantasy universe, vampires are a little special. There's not... Their source was kind of like a failed elixir of life. There's a hero here. Fantastic. So it's not like a great... Who wants to bet somebody just got shot to oblivion? I might just take this. There wasn't like a great old blood sacrificial ritual thing that happened. It was just Neferata screwed up. Although, you could say Neferata didn't entirely screw up. Also, this is fantastic for us. She was destined to screw up. But anyway, that's a conversation for later. So as the Cult of Death, it saved us from bankruptcy. We can embalm any hero within our crypt. It is completely free to do. We get mana based on their level, and we gain 1 embalmed corpse, which we can use to do something. And in this case, it can be used to craft the Grave Obelisk. This replaces our tier 2 mana building and grants a lot of mana, plus 30 and plus 10 city stability. In this particular situation, I'm going to boost out our Imperium building, our Vampire Castle. Okay, has begun construction, and get this going. Please and thank you. We have a farm being ravaged. Farm, forester, quarry. We can put a quarry right smack dab here. Now, this is very unfortunate. Supremely unfortunate. That is scary. Supremely unfortunate, but Waifu gets what Waifu demands. This isn't awful. It's a little terrifying. Empire skill is available. Surge spellcasting could be good. Building roads is fantastic. Fruitful integration is also good. So we're going to grab fruitful integration first. And we're grabbing roads. Sure, why not? War party is coming from across the sea. We are going to conquer this and build the city over here. Actually, hold on. Can I just build it here? This is not a bad spot to build. We are going to be a little cramped with Chernil in here, but we'll just force them to expand that way. Okay. We have to put down a city. It's turn 16. I'm pretending I know how to play the video game. We're putting down a city. We can go underground. We can take over all this. We have plenty of room. We got to go this way. There's plenty of space. And we meet... Of course it's you. We meet our first character who hates us. So you are the inconsiderate Lord of Death Vladdy von Carstein. I'm the biggest and the baddest, Grimgore Ironhide. Many God do you make war. I aim to make peace, even with the likes of you. Grimgore Ironhide is a preserving diplomat. Now this would be strange to anyone familiar with the Warhammer universe. But Future Fabe, if you would please roll the clip. Many God you make war, I aim to make peace, even with the likes of you. Somehow the AI gave him preserving diplomat. What is this heresy? He's gone order? What the So this is a reference to an older series, one of my very first, with Morrigan the Inheritor. Before you could control the AI personalities, the AI randomly gave Grimgore Preserving Diplomat, even though I was very much trying to instill the barbarian greenskin lifestyle into him. So I thought I would just run with it for this particular playthrough, and he leads the Ardboy Beastie Keeper. Grimgore Ironhide is the greatest Black Orc to ever exist, a living weapon forged from the smallest orc into a destroyer. The Alpha Git, Green Slaughterer, Green Demon, and boss of the East. He and his immortals escaped the Dawizar mines long ago and set up camp for his would-be empire in the Black Crag. From there, he unified tribe after tribe and slaughtered creature after creature. None could oppose him in combat, not Dowie, Norseman, Skaven, human construct, or demigod. And no greenskin could resist the pull of his dominance. He is the will of Gork and Mork, and his war has grown large enough to hear their will. He is to utilize the industrialization of his former slavers to establish an immortal empire, absorb all greenskin tribes, and gather and preserve the wildlife of malice to create even greater beasties. When this is done, they shall grant him the might of the world for the ultimate war and the biggest fight. So the idea behind this was that Grimgore is a Black Orc. Black Orcs were kind of like created, altered from regular orcs that were imprisoned by the Chaos Dwarves. And they were created to be bigger, stronger, more efficient workers. And Grimgore led the rebellion against them for their freedom, and then he started taking over Greenskins. But he is our industrious culture representative. And again, the idea was he kind of borrowed. The Greenskins aren't very intelligent, so they kind of borrowed the technology of the Chaos Dwarves. But they are still apex predators. I wanted to keep a little bit of hints of their primal combat prowess and relentless crusaders, because of the will of Gork and Mork telling him to do so. They are ferocious. I forgot I did this. They're ferocious, which deals 40% damage via retaliation attacks and opportunity attacks, which actually I think these are the default traits, I believe, for the Orcoid. Strong, more physical damage, and hardy. Now, because they're industrious, they're already very durable. So this is going to be spooky. And they are going to be using beasts. So I'm very curious to see how efficiently the AI can intertwine the beasts in between, like, the unbreakable industrious frontline. We'll see. We'll see. The Preserving Diplomat likes empires with good relations to free cities. They like empires that do not start wars. They dislike empires with a smaller domain. They dislike empires that break treaties. Their strategy is to form alliances. They never break treaties. They like to explore, and they like to expand. They freaking hate me. Oh, we have clashing affinities. And grievances. Oh. Wait. I'm not evil. 420 blazing. Is it just because I'm not good? What? Where are these coming from? Grimgor! Huh. Well. Okay. Can't say I'm excited for Grimgor to be the first person I'm fighting, but... it is what it is. Alright. Happy waifu, happy Laifu. I'm gonna fight this personally. So yeah, that's a character I totally just went full meme with. I did kind of, sort of, stick to the lore of most of our characters that I've chosen, but I mentioned the end times briefly at the very start. And if you're still here, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to share some deep lore here while I do this fight. That may or may not be of interest to you. So the end times were the end of Warhammer Fantasy, as it was. Warhammer Fantasy is actually making something of a comeback, so much so that Games Workshop is doing a new version of it called Warhammer the Old World. And the reason why they need to have a new version of it is because they killed the world. The end times, there's a dragoon, is the end of Warhammer Fantasy. They killed their own IP for funsies. Which is why a lot of people don't like it, myself included. I have to think very carefully about what I'm doing here. This is probably a necrotized play, isn't it? We try and like spawn a new unit or something. We definitely are tying these two up, I think. So Vlad is definitely going here. Blind will reduce their accuracy. We can turn him to tie these up. And then we definitely need something to go over here. Okay, you can hold this. I don't think these can be tied up, though. Dragoons are kind of wonky. Wonky and wild, I know what I'm saying. This should keep... well, they'll be able to move through there. We'll get them there. But yeah, the end times, they actually were kind of, dare I say, really cool. Because they raised the spectacle to like the nth degree. For the end of all things. And there were some fun things about it, like Vladdy Daddy was resurrected by the Supreme Necromancer, essentially. And because he operated during, like, I think around the year like 2040, 2050, and the end times were like 2500. So he had to be brought back. And they had, like, their plan to combat the powers of chaos that were devouring the world were to create their own super powerful people by invoking the various winds of magic and calling them into human vessels, or mortal vessels, I suppose, and whatnot. Like, there were some really cool things about it, but there was also a lot of bullshit. Least of which is destroying the world and ending your own IP. Like, what the... You know, in a way I respect it, because nowadays we just have never-ending IPs. So in a way I respect it. In a way. But a lot of the characters that I felt like got robbed supremely are in this series. So I wanted to do them justice. Do you think I can immobilize this? What are our chances? 53. YOLO. Nailed it. The Dragoon is one of the reasons I hate the Reaver culture. He does have a repeating attack, but they always try and go for this, like, harvesting shot. And for the longest time, there was this strange, like, technical issue with it, where they could never enter defense mode, which is how I play with so many, you know, units. So I don't know. Never liked it. I think they've kind of fixed it, though, so... Who knows, maybe I'm just... being old and judgmental. Up! Nice. The reason I started that ramp, by the way, is because Grimgor played a huge role in the end times. And he was one of those mortal champions. He was the incarnate of the winds of magic of beasts. And punched a literal god in the face. So, you know. That's pretty neat. How are you not dead? Okay, there we go. We do not judge Isabella's damage. We embrace and accept. I am bleeding mana, so we're going to let that go. Signet of flanking. Waifu! Heavy crossbow. Also for Waifu. Isabella von Carstein greets you grinningly. The horn of the shepherd of my forebears is mine once more. I thank you, my lord of death. Isabella locks the horn of the shepherd in his strongbox. There, now none may claim it. I shall keep it and my family's honor until I may pass it down to an heir of my choosing. We couldn't really have children who were undead. I mean, I did have didn't Vlad had a son, right? Conrad was his son, or was it just something he sired? Your heroine stands taller than ever before and is beaming with confidence and determination. I am but your humble servant, O Lord of Death. That's what I love to hear. Isabella von Carstein bows. Ask how I may reward you, and I shall. Family friendly. Well, we could take it. We're not going to do that. May a reclaimed honor deliver you strength? Now, here's a question. I think the answer is no. But this would give her enough experience to level up. But because we're vampires, some of that would funnel back to me, in theory. But I don't think it would functionally. Isabella can become the experienced leader. Yes? Yes. Screw XP, we're taking this. So, one of the downsides to being an Elder Vampire, we actually are going to work around this, but one of the big downsides is that all of your heroes that you recruit, unless you recruit from the Pantheon and they're not a mortal champion, will only have the vampire tree, meaning you can't get the support tree of the champion, which is very useful. It's very good. However, with this, we reclaim just a little bit of the support of a mortal champion. So lead your grace with grace and fervor, my Isabella, my consort. And she got 2 levels out of that. Nice. So we got Slippery. I don't think we care about this. This is if we want to go fully into Skirmisher, which I don't think we want to. The question is, do we want to do this or do we want to do this? I'm a huge fan of Snapshot. I know not everyone is. This is a free action shot. And so crossbows what we got. We just picked up a heavy crossbow. And the floating daggers function as a crossbow. So anything good for the crossbow, which this is, will be good for the floating dagger. And the reason why it's good is because we can use Snapshot as a free action, reposition, and still be able to shoot them out of defense mode. I quite like it a lot, and I've talked myself into it. We are going to give her the crossbow. Again, her goal is the daggers that Denathrius wielded, but we have to wait. You cannot have heroes start with the floating daggers. Only the Elder Vampire can do that. We should begin waddling. Oh, I'm 1 tile short, really? Well, it won't matter for Vlad. The Grave Obelisk is in. This is restoring some of our city stability and granting us mana, so we're not bleeding like mad. We shall get the Granary for more growth. There's more remains. We could embalm them as well, which I am thinking about it. The other way to get around it, I'm not sure if they fixed this, but if you animate a hero, this uses souls to bring them back as undead. They're undead, or as Whiteborn, excuse me. So they'd be Whiteborn, not a vampire. So when they did this in the dev stream, they retained their Mortal Champion tree. So maybe we can have Mortal Champions even as a vampire. Also, Isabella just popped off and got to renowned level 3 already, which is fantastic. She is a scholarly governor, because I love knowledge. And pretty much no other reason. Our negotiations have succeeded with you. We have met the Mystic Dream Vault. Sage Mormundos Miraculous, of the Free City of Dream Vault, greets you with an air of pretentious judgment. All hail, Vlad von Carstein. Though we do not experiment with death in the way you do, I hope our magical endeavors will help you see that you may have much in common with the Dream Vaults. Really? Spoilers. Guild Mistress Jetty Roadblock of the Free City of Gemkeep greets you with calculated caution. Salutations, O Vlad von Carstein. Your power and devotion to the dark arts parallel our passion for progress here in Gemkeep. We hope that our efficiency and your power may prove a good match. Aww, Grimgore. He's getting a tier 4 settlement. Oh, that's gross. We're gonna have to kill Grimgore. We're gonna have to kill Grimgore. We're gonna have to kill Grimgore. Grimgore's gonna have to die. Oh, so we can get thralls though. Okay, cool. So this is because we have the Vampire Castle. And I think this is what's going to be the most powerful part of being undead with, or specifically being able to gather souls while being an Elder Vampire. As an Elder Vampire, thralls are gained from growth in your capital city. That's it. That is their only natural way to grow. Or, to get more. However, I was talking... Un momento. You are summoned by Tornil, but you are not greeted by Baron Belor Kingstealer. Instead of resuming diplomatic negotiations, his eldest daughter hails you. I already have a wife. Good day, Lord of Death Vlad von Carstein. I am Tyrannica Kingstealer of Tornil. I believe the rule of my father is failing. Fortunately, I am eager and capable to step in, but I fear that the transition might prove arduous. I will make a better ally than my father. Will you support the scheme of Tyrannica to supplant the Baron? So we can say yes, and we become evil. The king dies. We immediately get the Pact of Loyalty. We get a sway. Those are pretty good results. I told you, Vlad was like, die or join me, yo. So that's something he would do. Lore accurate. Visit me promptly, schemers. So, we can lure her to our capital. It is a 4 strength check. We have 6, so 70% chance. If we succeed, we get her as our prisoner and test subject. We lose allegiance with Turnil. However, we gain 60 knowledge immediately. Oh, not per turn. And we capture her. This sounds awful. All right. I shall aid in your grand ambition. We shall immediately form a city. I think... Is this guy hostile to me? What's happening here? We have roads. I would love to get this. I think we're going to ignore... Surge spellcasting is great, but I think we're going to have to ignore it for now. I want to go here. This might be our climax of the day, honestly. I think we're going to bonk this heal and then take the Echoing Abyss, and then we'll have to retreat home. As I was saying, for the thralls, The best way, or the only way you get them as the Elder Vampire is with growth in your capital. It doesn't steal it or convert it or anything. You just, the more growth you have, the more thralls you get alongside your population. However, if you have souls, you are able to convert only 30 souls into 3 thralls. That is a crazy conversion rate in the early game. We are taking, do some quick math here. Hey, Deathguard. Run away from that. We are taking 4 turns, I think, total to gain 1 thrall at this stage of the game. Compared to 30 souls, which we can get in 1 combat. And then it just takes 1 turn of casting. Like, I think this is one of the strongest things about using souls as the Elder Vampire. I could be mistaken, but I feel like I'm not. That went splendiferously. Give me your body. Unfortunately, I'm going to just miss all this, even though I would love to keep it. That's cool. I might even... We should take 1 turn to heal. We're going to need all of our strength to tackle the Echoing Abyss, I think. We can build a road here. Don't worry, we'll get you soon. We got some remains. Again, we could embalm these, and we might. Who are you? Alright, you're a sacrifice is what you are. Oh no! We're evil! Someone's here. You know, I never thought I would say this, but I kind of hope that's a invading force of marauders. Because there is a there's a pirate cove over here. The Abattoir. Big fan. We also have the Crypt Temple. We're not going to be using that yet. I think we just wait. We can even get a Mortalist going. Maybe a Necromancer's better. It's hard to say. Our scout getting us some money, which is fantastic. Oh, it's a Crusader host! Okay, so these are cool. This is my first time seeing one. The Crusader host is a special infestation that was introduced in Archon Prophecy. And it's unique because the infestation will be neutral to those with very good or better alignment. So very good or prime good. The infestation won't attack you. I want to say there's even something about, like, talking to the infestation. Oh. What the fiddly? Okay. Well, my realm's on fire. How about yours? That's the way I like it, and I'll never get bored. Alright. We're going in. What does our army need? It needs a front line. Alright, Spearman, it's you. You step in to the dark of the echoing abyss and are welcomed by high-pitched shrieks bouncing off of cavern walls. Shrieking bats bred by a deranged chaplain are the source of the shrieks. You witness in horror how the chaplain offers his arm to the shrieking bats, who willingly drink his blood. "Drink up, my pets," he cries through agony. "Drink, and I shall soon be an elder vampire." He then becomes aware of your presence and withdraws his arm. The chaplain, as blind as his bat, steps towards you menacingly. His bloodthirsty, shrieking bats follow suit. How will you proceed? Reverberant acoustics. All shrieking bats have their attacks affect all targets in a 1 hex radius. Oh. So we can just go in. We can block the production in our new city for 6 turns. Nope. Or we could reveal our vampiric might. A great bottle. Out of curiosity, how does the eye do? Okay. Alrighty. I have restarted this grim battle because I lost my beloved Isabella. Now, I actually wasn't going to restart this battle. I was going to accept what I had done. But I ran into a problem. Restoring Isabella brought her back as a Whiteborn. Oh no! And one of the few traits about Isabella, even as she evolved into a vampire, is that she was remarkably pale and beautiful. I can't have her be a Whiteborn. Is the short and long of it. So I'm going to be a little more cautious with her and see if I can keep her alive. I don't particularly care about any other sacrifices, truth be told. Most of our roster is, in fact, expendable. So we don't want her to go this way. We want her to go that way. I'd infest him just to see what he does. Okay. Can't... Oh. That's rude. That was our Thornbound Skeleton. We can actually take a turn with Vlad to, They can attack... They're so smart! Everybody's so clever. They're attacking the empty hex in between my units to deal damage. That is annoying. So I need to be really spread out. How dare you, Grace? What do you mean you graze? So I could bring this back. I think... We could go here and, like, tie up all three of them. Okay. Kill this one. Okay. Again, ordering was kind of off because we want to kill stuff before we start attacking things. Vlad should be able to bite his way to not dying here. And he can do this. Do I roll the 65s? 55. My IQ is 55. Girlfriend's age 55. I listened to that song recently. I suppose I hesitate to call it a song. I listened to that recently. It was crazier than I could have possibly remembered. Again? Lol? Order lol? Don't kill the monk. Good. Okay, if he tries to move, he should die, because they're not slippery, I don't think. Alright. Get back up. A necromancer is really just a late healer, you know? I need to get you a mount. Like a flying mount. Boom. Well done, waifu. So yeah, I did that entirely just so she wouldn't be Whiteborn. Now maybe I could have resurrected her And I just pressed the wrong button. But Resurrection is also a lot of mana, so... Sorry for those who don't like reloads. I did it for Waifu. The deafening screeches that echoed through the echoing abyss are silenced. Blood floods the guano-coated cave floor. Some of the shrieking bat pups were spared from the slaughter. You discover that the delusions of the chaplain ran deeper than you thought. Moldy tomes and wall scribbles describe rituals and processes concerning vampirism and bat anatomy. Although the notion of shrieking bats transforming mortals into elder vampires remains preposterous, the experiments might yield valuable insights. After copying the research notes, what else will Vladdy von Carstein take from the cleared, echoing abyss? So we could get food. This would give a free pop to both of our cities, which I think is what we're going to end up taking. We could get a shrieking bat. This is the range, we just fought. We'll be able to recruit these anyway from our tier... Oh, come from the Soul Forge. Or we can get him out. I did just talk about having him out for Isabella so she can get a position. But like I said, I think the food is more valuable at this moment in time. I don't appreciate being sieged. I could take a farm. I could take a quarry as well. This would give us just general building capabilities. The chambers. Yeah, the Soul Forge. Here we go. We can use this to recruit Vampire Spider Hatchlings, Doom Bat, Shrieking Bats, Vampire Spider Matrix. And it consumes Thralls. We can now bring the Echoing Abyss to Templehof. This is +5 Imperium, +10 mana, +10 knowledge. Counts as research posts, and +2 mana per research post in the city domain. Which is perfect because Isabella von Carstein is a scholarly governor. So each research post gives +5 knowledge, +5 city stability, and each population grants +2 knowledge. And once she caps out, the city will generate 10% more knowledge. This is 100,000% going to be a research guild. And if by some weird stroke of luck we do get Metropolitan Society, don't count on it, we are touching tips with our capital city. Which is nice. I also learned my lesson. We are desecrating first, workshopping seconds. You are getting that. I could queue something. But haven't we learned the lesson? Queuing is bad. Oh, I need this. Desecration first. Next growth, we'll get a forest, and then we'll build that. No. A necromancer wouldn't be bad, but... you're going to get a scout, and it's going to scout for me. In fact, we can scout and diggy dig. A stone wouldn't be bad. Are there any free cities that don't hate me? You hate me. You're not going to like me, but you know what? I'll try. I'm a little busy, so we may not get to this dream vault. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, you're over here. Okay. You know what? We may not get to that dream vault because we have this. We have this. Okay, so there's a Black Crag. Level 12 already. Like I said, I did not give any of the free cities. Oh, so close. Or excuse me, I did not give any of the other gaudier bonuses. Okay. Vladdy is in sunless terrain, so that's fantastic. You're doing your thing. Vladdy Daddy! What up? We might get back later. I haven't decided yet. It's not like it's mandatory. Are we going to do it? We're going to do it. What kind of question is that? We're going to grab Keen Edge for 20% critical hit chance, and we are, of course, going for the best ability in the game. Death. Yes, I know a province is being pillaged. I think I am going to do this conversion just so that I have some thralls in case we encounter a situation like this again where I need some thralls. Where I want some thralls. Where thralls would be pretty neat. Pretty neat. Nothing crazy, just a little neat. None of my scouts have been killed yet. This is odd. Oh. Oh, look. I'm being invaded. Again. I want this. So much to do and so much to see. What's wrong with taking the back street? You never know if you don't go. One day I'll stop singing these songs, but probably not today. Vladdy Daddy! As your troops approach the band of mercenary guards, they raise the white flag. We were hired by a rich merchant to look after the pastures, the leader of the gang, a wild speaker, explains. We expect to protect it from roaming scoundrels, not against a full-fledged assault. Please accept our surrender and let us go. Come closer. Yes, I do have a new position for you. Well, do we clear this out as the final? I know I called that I called the Echoing Abyss the final hurrah, but maybe this is the final hurrah. Maybe we were the final hurrah all along. The final hurrah all along. All right. So, this is Rainbow Clover. Oh, so lucky. Every 2 turns, all defending units gain Rally and Fortune. That, of course, will... Rally is morale, right? Yeah, morale, and it will give them increased critical hit chance, which is painful. Stay there. Stay there. Now, most of these units are ranged. These are the... You know, I haven't really made use of these things. They got buffed a while ago. These guys, the Chaos Eaters. I don't think there's many of them in this campaign. I have used the Gremlins. They're hilarious. Oh, right. I should have mentioned a tiny feature about the Doom Bats that's funny. They were trying to create, they being the developers, were thinking about creating like a swarm technology for those Doom Bats and creatures like it in the future. However, it was becoming very difficult, / they didn't really know how to incorporate it or couldn't incorporate. Whatever happened, it happens during development. So what they did was they just made them tiny. So the unit is 20% harder to hit with physical, ranged, and magical attacks. Fun little tidbit. You'll learn all sorts of random things during dev streams. Hey, go towards me. Did that work? I don't think it did. Oh yeah, they have Chaotic Rebuke as well. Did I make this worse? Kind of. Also, fun fact. These things are battle mages. So they don't care about being tied up. Our one strategy against ranged units, and it doesn't work. I got stunned. First try. 3 shots. First try. Stuns. Well, the good news is that, what is this? Skeleton? Miss von Carstein, my consort, is part of the Sylvanian culture, and as such, is resistance. So these guys are going to be able to shoot at most things. Okay, they're blinded. That's good. So they're going to suck. I'm a little worried about the gremlins, but we'll see. You know, I think the AI did so well. I think they sacrificed a hero. I got stunned again. Stunned, insanity, misfortune. Well, almost dead. Misfortune weakens, but not stuns. Insanity. Bonk. Bonk. I could eat this corpse. That's a sentence that requires context. Well, if I'm gonna go insane, I might as well get stunned as well. Look at that. My waifu resists all the bad things. Please don't kill my waifu. There are so many other characters for you to kill. Don't kill my waifu. Okay, well. He did as I requested. No! Okay. Huzzah, huzzah, the demon is dead. Isn't there a lance around here? A thorn skeleton of some kind? Good shot. Eh. Even farther away. Mana. What is it good for? Oh, I found the spirits right here. Gremlin! Wakey, wakey. I think that's an advantage to having Vlad pick up pick up various necromantic techniques, as he could do stuff like that. But that's what necromancers are for. You know? Why would I denigrate Vlad von Carstein? Vlad von Carstein. The most supreme of vampires to ever walk... I'm going to press this button for once. The most supreme of vampire... Do not death waltz. Okay, I don't have enough casting points. Of vampires to ever walk this earth. To just resurrecting a unit. We'll get a necromancer. It'll do it for him. Fun fact, long before the College of Magic was established in Altdorf, Vlad von Carstein established something like that in Sylvania. It mostly focused on necromancy, but... Alright, so I brought this thing back, and we lost 2 shield boys. That's fine. We got the White Wolf Mount. Okay. Would you like to ride a wolf, my dear? Look, it has armor on it. That's nice. Nice little touch there. Isabella has reached level 4. Now, the turned vampires do not have access to the Elder Vampire signature skills. That would be, quite frankly, OP. But for Isabella, we might as well just grab Initiative Shadow. And, I think we'll just go ahead and grab Ranger Run and Defense 1, because more damage, less dying. What's not to love? We have a farm. The Echoing Abyss. Forester on sheep. So build a desecration chamber into the wall, into the workshop. Life will be swell. Castle Drakenhof is a little besieged. I mean, let's all be honest. This isn't the most unusual thing in the world. Let's go straight for the Crypt Hall. I might. We want to make sure the spear stays with Isabella because of her experience pumping. Honestly, I wish this worked on heroes as well. Where did it go? Did I not get it? Huh. I wonder if the text was different than the result. Well, either way, hang out with the waifu. Let us get some free thralls. We now have 6. Like the Eldritch Sovereign, we have the Clairvoyance Ritual, so we can reveal... We might as well. An Undiscovered Infestation or Ancient Wonder. We have a new traits. The Quartz of Whispers and the Rite of the Crypt Blade. Both are kind of irrelevant for us right now. We shall end the turn and see the consequences of our actions. It is very rare in one of these videos that we only meet one other person. And it looks like that rarity has occurred. Wow. Flesh carve runes are in. We might as well get the blood drinking blades. We don't really do a whole lot of bleeding, and bleeding is definitely not going to be our focus. But, you know. Also damage. It's +1 damage. And we will leave that +1 damage for next time. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you to patrons and the channel members who support the channel. I greatly appreciate you. If you would like to stay up to date and have a channel, feel free to join the description down below. And I will see you next time as Vlad von Carstein sets out to complete his grand ambition to become the Lord of Death, the Emperor of Bones.